You know, every developer's journey, sooner or later, hits the world of data. It's just inevitable. So today, we're going to map out your very first steps into that world, and we'll be using one of the most powerful and trusted tools out there, PostgreSQL. All right, let's dive in.
So let me ask you something. Ever wonder how your favorite apps, social media, your online bank, how do they handle all your data? And not just handle it, but keep it safe and organized? Well, that's the big fundamental problem that databases were created to solve.
And right at the heart of so many of these systems, you'll find PostgreSQL. Now, you'll hear it called an object relational system. What does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. It's got the super strong, reliable foundation of an old-school database, but it's also flexible enough to deal with all the complex, messy data of the modern world. It speaks the universal language of databases, SQL, but it kind of kicks it up a notch to handle pretty much anything you can throw at it.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The big players, the industry leaders, they trust PostgreSQL for their most critical stuff. I love this quote from FlightAware.com because it just hits the nail on the head. They say PostgreSQL is for more than just simple select, and that's exactly the point. It's built for the tough, complex jobs.
All right, so to really get a feel for its power, we've got to start at the beginning. Let's dig in. What is PostgreSQL?
This thing has some serious history. We're talking all the way back to 1986 at UC Berkeley. That means it's had almost 40 years of development behind it. That's why its architecture is so battle-tested and reliable. A huge moment for it was back in 2001, when it became what's called ACID compliant. Now, don't worry about that term just yet. We'll circle back to it. Just know it's basically the gold standard for making sure your data is safe.
Okay, enough history. Let's get our hands dirty. Now, let's place the next step on our roadmap. Getting your tools ready. And trust me, it's way easier than it sounds.
Really, you just need two main things. First, you've got the database engine itself. That's the Powerhouse, the machine that's doing all the heavy lifting of storing and managing your data. Then, you need a user interface, something like PGAdmin. This is a visual tool that lets you actually see and play with your database. So think of it like a car. You've got the powerful engine, and you've got the dashboard to control it. Simple, right?
All right, our tools are installed. Now what? Well, we need to learn how to talk to the database. And the language for that is SQL. It stands for Structured Query Language. And it's basically how we're going to ask our database for directions and read the map of all our information.
And the most basic command in SQL? It's honestly super simple. You just tell the database what you want to select, say a person's first name and last name, and then you tell it from what table you want to get it from. That's it. That's the heart of pretty much every request you're going to make.
Okay, check this out. It's a perfect example of how we can get more specific. The first query is pretty broad. Select the names from the actor table, and boom, you get all 200 of them. But look at the second one. By adding that little where clause, we can filter everything. We're not just asking who's in the movie anymore. We're asking, hey, find me the actor named Mary. See how powerful that is? You're going from a giant list to the exact one piece of data you need.
But what if you don't actually need the list of names? What if you just want a summary? Like, how many actors are there? For that, we use something called an aggregate function, like count. It's a totally different kind of question. We're not asking for the data, we're asking for information about the data. And the result? Just one number, 200. Simple. Now think of this as a checkpoint on your developer journey. This is that aha moment. You realize SQL isn't just a tool for fetching lists, it's a tool for getting actual insights and summaries from your data. We've leveled up from just getting lists to getting answers.
So running these queries feels pretty straightforward, right? But underneath it all, there's this incredibly powerful system working hard to make sure everything is safe and totally reliable. So let's treat this as another checkpoint on our journey. It's time to pop the hood and see why so many people trust Postgres.
The big secret here is something called ACID compliance. It's an acronym for 4 promises the database makes for every single operation. A is for atomicity, which means a transaction is all or nothing. Think about a bank transfer. You can't have money leave your account if it doesn't arrive in the other. It either all happens or none of it happens. C is for consistency, which just means your data always has to follow the rules you set up. I is for isolation. This one's cool. It means if 2 things are happening at once, they don't mess each other up. And finally, D for durability. Once you save something, it's saved for good, even if the server crashes a second later. This whole ACID thing, it's the absolute bedrock of why Postgres is so trustworthy.
And here's the real magic, the special sauce, if you will. It's called MVCC. Now, in some older systems,
If you and I tried to access the same data at the same time, one of us would have to wait. It's like a traffic jam. But PostgreSQL is smarter. With MVCC, it gives each of us our own little snapshot of the data. The result? We can both work at the exact same time. No waiting, no traffic jams. It is just incredibly efficient.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got our tools set up, we've learned the basic language, and we've peeked under the hood to see why it's so reliable. But believe me, this is just the first stop. Let's look further down our roadmap and see where this journey can really take you.
What's just awesome about PostgreSQL is how far you can take it. You're not stuck with just simple text and numbers. You can handle messy, unstructured JSON data right in the database. You can store lists of things using arrays. You can even plug in extensions like PostGIS to build apps that understand maps and locations. Heck, you can even write your own functions in languages like Python or Rust. The roadmap from here is just wide open.
So there you have it. We've gone from zero to running our first queries. We've covered the basics and touched on the core ideas that make Postgres so incredibly solid. You've officially got the first part of your map for the journey into data. So the real question now is, what are you gonna build? This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.